Welcome to Thank God You're Not My Child. Remember, it's a comedy podcast where I talk about whatever I want to. And the last week or so since we've came home from Vegas, and if you didn't know I went to Vegas, where have you been? Go check out my TikTok and stuff. There's some amazing things. Vegas is pretty cool. It's a one-time thing, I think. But we came back to go to my husband's best friend, like his brother. They were really close. He didn't have a brother, so this was his chosen brother. He lived up on the mountain with us. He passed away. I've talked about that a couple episodes ago. And we went to his memorial. I was so nervous about this because Voller's wife, Ruthie, that had passed away about 11 years ago, was best friends with my husband's wife, and she passed away. His first wife passed away. And I was the new wife. Now, I didn't know anybody there. I knew of Baller's sons because he talked about them forever. He has 3 boys and grandkids, and he had family he loved, and we heard about them all the time. So I knew him 3 years. And I was retired, and he was retired, and we'd get to talk and hang out some. And he sure did love God, and we did this sometimes on that because it's very hard for older people to get over certain things people are doing. And, not judging someone's lifestyle can be hard. I don't, because I know my life is messed up. It's on its own. So I got to keep this straight. And I don't have time to look at your life. If you want something, come to me, but I don't have time. But I went to the memorial and it was okay. We found out that just as much as Voller talked about them, when he was with them, he talked about us. So some of them even knew who I was, and all of them knew Evan because they've known each other forever. In fact, some of the ways that my husband takes care of me is because he watched his brother take care of his wife when she was sick. And for 10 years, he had to take care of her. And it was not easy. And the love was the God fruit, because that's what we're basically talking about, is when people, you can't judge how much God someone has. There are people out there that claim to be Christians that aren't 100%. And I can say this because I was one of them. I'm 100% sure I was one of them because that little black box I had was still hidden in there. And even though I didn't act on it for all of those years, it was there. And when it came to face, I didn't have enough God in me to stop the black box from opening. And I let sin in. I let the devil in. I have went over the 30 years, I went from the infants in preschool to at church, working in the nurseries. I mean, I always served because you're supposed to serve. And if they needed diapers changed, well, I was good at that. If they needed food served, I did it. I even once and loved kids worship. Now, I'll just tell you this. I didn't put a mic on in my singing because it's not the best. But getting those kids worshiping for God, whew, pretty cool. Because worship is one of the ways we can show we love God. But, worshiping is not just about singing the songs and putting your hands up and being at church. You worship every day. If you work with God in your heart and you treat people the way you are and you have the love and the joy and the peace and you're working and you're helping people, this is a form of worship. God likes to see us happy. He likes us to serve for him. It is worshiping him. So that's what we're supposed to look for in Christians. If you've got someone that's going to church and big in church, but that's all they ever do, and you might, you understand. You understand? My husband had a case once with a doctor. And he was high up in church and every nice looking man. And you couldn't believe what he'd done. So you have to look at someone's heart. So if you have to know someone and watch for God fruit, how can you judge how much God someone has? How can you judge it? I don't think you can. Now, I will say this. I am a firm believer that when someone is in God and they worship and that heart completely is God's, you'll know it. You'll feel it. I have some people in my life that when I'm around them, I can just feel the peace. I can feel God peace. My best friend's one of them, and I don't know how she has it. I know she's struggling with believing in God because she's so sick. But the peace I have around her, it's just amazing. But most people would look at her and go, "Ooh, she likes all that stuff." But did you know you can like weird stuff and still be God's? You understand? You're not hurting anybody. God doesn't care if you have how many skeletons hanging in your house. Guess what? God made the skeleton. It's in there. It's in there. I'd made it. But people would look at me and they would go, "Oh my gosh, she does daycare. She's just got it all put together." And I did. And I loved God and I served God. But I still had that black box that the devil controlled. And it took getting thrown away in divorce from my marriage for me to become single and for me to realize that God's got me. God's got me. And it took a couple of years for that black box to get clear. I've talked about it. I don't have a black box anymore. It's clear. Those things that I crave, my husband knows about it. He knows every one of the things that I've done wrong. God knows I've been forgiven. But you know what the key is? The key is I can't do those things anymore. I can't think about them. I just don't. And the more I'm in God's word and the more I pray for that, the less I don't even think about this stuff anymore, people. It's like you just got to get into the word. If you can't read, there's even TikToks praying to you. You're doing Bible study. There's no excuse. No excuse. It's like I decided that for all of those years, I knew that box was there. I knew it was black. And that was a sin box. But now I want to have God fruit. And being retired, what can I do? What can I do to help people? Because in all of my life, it was serving kids. It was helping the parents work. It was daycare. It was raising my kids. That's what I did. And I felt that was God fruit. And I know that was God fruit. You can have God fruit even if you've got that stuff in your heart. You just got to get that black box out. Get it clear, people. Get that black box clear. You need to have some accountability. So I can go to my husband and say, "Hey, I'm having some problems with," and he doesn't get mad. He doesn't judge me, but we work through it. And whatever I need, we take care of it, and vice versa. And that's what I was missing with my first marriage. Kept it all to myself. And when it came to light, I didn't know what to do. And that's how it is. So you've got to come clean to somebody about your black box, people. You got to do it. You got to do it. Come clean with God, first of all. If you can't tell God what's your darkest sin thoughts, he's not going to know what to he's not going to take it away because you don't admit it. He knows what's there. That's what I'm saying. And he knows you're struggling with it. Everybody has their own stuff. Everybody. We were all born with something. I mean, kids want to fight. Why do they want to fight? It's because of how we're born. And that's why born again. And I know when I was divorced the first time, I was born again because I don't think I was a real believer from that. I was playing. And the second time we were married, I was a firm believer, but I kept that box. And only a few people saw that ugly fruit. because you're either going to have God fruit or ugly fruit. And I decided I didn't want any ugly fruit. I want my fruit God, because God fruit is always beautiful. Doesn't matter what it looks like, it's beautiful. God, it's from God. So now I'm retired, and what am I supposed to do to have God fruit? Well, I'm going to love. You need to love everyone. And everybody says, oh, I love everyone. But do you? What about that person that hurt you? What about that person that makes your heart go, ugh? Those were some of my last steps. And, it took a lot. Uh, I hope all of my apologies have been accepted. And I have to accept that they were, because you don't control what someone else does. You don't control what other people feel and do. But if I'm going to live a life for God, you have to go to Him every day. Every day, baby, every day. Figure it out. You figure everything else out. You figure dinner out. You figure getting your kids to school. You figure the laundry out. You figure work out. Look at all this stuff you figure out. Let's figure out how to put more God time into our days. That was what I figured out. And the more I open that Bible, the more I listen to Bible studies, the more I sing the songs, the clearer that black box got, because I don't want to disappoint God anymore. Because when I disappoint God, it disappoints me. And be disappointed in yourself. I know you all have been disappointed in yourself, and it's not fun. So I want to show God fruit. How do you show God fruit? I try to show joy. I try to laugh. I try to be happy, because you can look at what, like, I do miss daycare. I can look at what I miss, or I can look at what I got. I just went live just for the fun of it. Had a few people watch. It doesn't matter. But I went live on TikTok. And you barely saw me. What you saw was my animals. I was walking. We have 30 plus acres. It was so cute. Look at this. I mean, I live in the woods, and my little black cat, go Buck, I was carrying him a cat thing, walking around, and but last week he just decided he wanted to do on his own, and he follows me everywhere. It's so cute. So I have 2 dogs and a cat that follows me everywhere. So I went live. The joy of that. And I don't even know if anybody looked. It didn't matter. They were climbing, they were walking, and it was just, the peace was just like God saying, baby girl, look what I've given you. When I decided to make all of that life go to God, and that black box clear, it was like, well, I'm just going to tell you this. If you knew me 5 years ago, you don't know me. If you have not talked to me in 5 years, you don't know me. You don't know me. There's a small handful of people that truly know me now. The first thing I had to do was, you can't judge how much God someone else has. You need to check yourself. Check yourself first. But if your God's not right, how can you judge someone else's God? Even if I'm right, I can't judge what other people are going through. It's ridiculous. Patience. Everybody thought I had so much patience or with daycare, but not always. Not living out here. When I want something done, I want something done. And I don't have that choice. We don't live off grid anymore, and we do have electric, and we have 2 wells. So, we threw the towel in. It was expensive. That's just really what it was about. Fuel for a generator is expensive, and it was cheaper to get electric ran up than solar. So we went that way. But, I want things done now. But I gotta have patience. I gotta have God patience. And some things don't need to be done now. And that's part of my God fruit. I I when I did daycare, I did make better money, and I had a lot of things that I could have sold and made a little money on, which would have been nice, could have paid a bill. But I realized that in my neighborhood, in my church, I have a lot of people with some teenage kids that could use the stuff. So I just started making bags and asking them if they wanted them. And I've started noticing a lot of the kids wearing some of the t-shirts and stuff that I just couldn't wear anymore. And I'm like, I'm just going to start, if they want them in the, I mean, because I like free stuff. I like used stuff. I like old stuff. I go to thrift stores. I'm like, if you know me and you need something, tell me. I might find it at a thrift store. That's kind of what I do now that I'm retired. I do this podcast just to keep me yakking to somebody. And the funny thing is I'm starting to yak with strangers, not even the people I know, because most of the people I know don't even listen. And that's okay. That's part of the kindness and goodness. I can laugh about it, but you know what? God's in control of everything. And if God is in control of everything, then we have to sit back and we have to think about it. There's a big thing now that, well, you don't have to actually go to church. I don't think you have to. But I'm going to tell you this, if I don't have a church and some people, accountability with some people that I know are there with God, that box is going to go black again. And I know that. So I would say if you're looking for more God and you're getting that Bible out, says, you get that Bible out. And I'm also going to tell you, I'm going to just tell you right now, this is 100% you could just write it right there. Just write it on your hand, okay? Just get a pen, write it on your hand. Leave the feelings, I'll write this all on my hand, of the world behind. You understand what I'm saying? When you look at that, leave the world behind. When you get that book out, if you have any hate in your heart for anyone, you're not going to get everything God wants you out of that book because you've got that right here. And I have some friends that all I see running their life is political stuff. And then they say that they're doing Bible study. And I wonder, how much of the world are you living behind when you crack that book open? Because if you're taking the world with you, or your divorce with you, or your addiction with you, and you're not reading the words he said, you're not going to get everything he wants you to have. Do you understand? That means that before I could truly, truly get anything out of the Bible and God tell me what he wanted me to do, there was a lot of people I had to forgive that didn't even apologize. They don't think they did anything wrong, and that's okay. I don't need them to know. I have friends that was best friends that tore my heart out when they left me from divorce. And you know what? I still love them. I love them for the time we had together. I love them for the memories we have. One of them I went on 17 cruises with. Good memories. And it's okay to have just memories. But there's no trust. Because, and God told me this, if you have a friend that throws you away because you're going through something, it's not the friend you need. It's not the friend you need. And I've been praying, because if you can do that, how much God have you got in you? And then that leads me back to, I can't judge how much God someone has. You understand? I couldn't go in to reading God's word and expect him to give me everything I need, having any hate feelings towards my ex-husband. I couldn't do it. God's not going to give me everything I need if I go in like that. I've forgiven him for things he never apologized for, because in his world, he never did wrong. I have apologized, and that's just where I have to leave it. We have 2 great kids together and so many memories. And God's given me those, allowed me to, those feelings I have from the negative things that happen. Yeah, they still hurt a little because a lot of them I caused. There's always gonna be a little shame there that keeps me from doing it again. You understand? But I had to truly, truly forgive them all with complete peace. I love them dearly. When you love somebody so dearly and you've known them for so long and all of a sudden they're out of your life, it's hard no matter what. So it took me some time to get over those feelings, but once you get to the peace part where you're at peace with everything you've done, that you've been forgiven, you just look around and you're like, what am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do now? Well, God's going to bring something. Until then, I'll take care of my husband and I'll take care of my pets and I will just enjoy my tiny things. If you're watching, can you see I got tiny Pringle earrings? Yeah, the green ones. You know, the green ones are the sour cream and onion. I'm just going to enjoy life. Live it for God. If God sends me somebody, I'm going to love on them. If God sends me something to do, I'm going to do it because I've opened up my world to God. Bring it. Bring what you want me to do. And He's bringing it. Remember, the biggest thing, the only control we're supposed to have is self-control. You're not supposed to control anybody in your life. Even your kids. You're controlling to a point, but your kids need to learn. They need to grow. That's how they're going to do it, is through the God love that you have. That giving them patience on potty training. They got to master that. They have to master school. This is all part of just being a parent. It's still God's kid, and He's allowed you to have them. So self-control. That's where we're going to end. Self-control. Get your Bible out. Think about the things that are making that box in your heart black. They're all different. Could it be that you're cheating on a test? Something as easy as that? If you're in school? Could it be those few texts you're doing to that somebody that isn't your spouse? Maybe that work person that you're eyeing? These are things that God doesn't want. So self-control is going to be what's going to help you. But you have to have enough God in your heart. You have to have God to know that it's wrong. Or else you're going to keep that black box in there and you might miss eternity with God. Because if you're keeping that sin in there and it's pegged up and that's what you think about all the time, it's an idol. If it's porn and that's all you ever think about, you're worshiping it. If it's shopping and that's all you ever want to do, it's an idol, baby. If it's daycare and all you ever do is daycare stuff all the time, because I got into that, it's a sin. So what do? Self-control. Search your black box. Mine's clear now. And you have to know me good to know why it was black. Nobody's perfect, remember. So I'm going to work on self-control. And remember, when you open that Bible, you can't be hating on your ex. You can't be hating on the person that didn't give you a tip. I don't know what all it is. You also can't be hating on anything political. If all you can think about is a political person, how are you getting anything from God? Give it to God. Give it to God. These last few episodes have just been so weird where God's taken it, and I'm just letting Him have it. I'm just letting Him have it. You know, I started drinking a margarita, which I still have every once in a while. I just don't do it all the time because that was part of my black box. I wanted to drink all the time. I like it. And you know what? God doesn't want that. He didn't want that. And He told me in no uncertain terms. So do I still drink? Yeah, sometimes. Patience, I'm working on it. Self-control. That's the one I'm working on now because self-control, gets me into my Bible study, gets me into the Bible, gets me into helping people, self-control. I mean, everything down to your eating, people. Do you understand the first temptation that anyone ever had was food? If the first temptation anyone on this planet ever had was food, and go to the Bible and see how many people were tempted with food, do you not think God didn't know we were going to be tempted with a donut? He knew a donut. I could do a donut now. So I want to see some God fruit. These emails I've been getting have been really good. Now I want to see some things that you've seen God fruit on people. And I would love to do a whole episode of a few stories of people where they've seen people just work for God so much that it was just, woo. I've got a couple I could put in there. So email them. Maybe in a few weeks, we'll have an episode of listener stories. It'll be fun. Pretty sure it'll be fun. The email has changed. It's the Queen at the Crazy House. It'll be down in the below. And remember, follow. If you're listening to this on podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening, just follow, share. Let's get some people yakking with me. I need more people. I got new stickers coming, so email me if you want one of those. So anyway, I think I've told you everything I know. Until next time, thank God you're not my child.